Some political news. I don't know if you guys heard this. I saw that President Biden and the First Lady plan to attend President-elect Trump's inauguration. You know, when Trump's taking the oath of office, Biden's going to be loudly unwrapping a Werther's Original.
Werther's Original. This is, it shouldn't be like Geritol lozenge or something like that. Wouldn't that be more appropriate? Maybe, somebody hit him in the neck with a tranquilizer dart. Hillary Clinton off to the side over there. Hey, sound shocked, late night TV. Not comedians, just politicians. Democrat party shills. Party shills. And when it comes to Joe Biden, I might have been right the first time. Joe Biden, they expressed shock. Joe Biden and not a Dr. Jill Biden, who really loves the Secret Service, they will both attend the inauguration. That would be perfectly normal American tradition, but now the left has gone so completely nutty, so wacky, so fascist. They can't even comprehend the idea that we'd act for a moment like we live in a civil, uncivilized country because, the Democrats. Well, good Wednesday to you and welcome back. Once again, we have our cup, which runneth over, as it so often does, with remarkable stuff. I don't know if you saw the Kamala Harris video. I think a lot of people have seen the Kamala Harris video. She's in Hawaii. We're paying for another vacation for her. She took an Air Force airplane, a 757, no doubt, from Andrews, Joint Base Andrews Air Force Base, just outside of Washington, D.C., to Hawaii, where she was not invited to stay at the oceanfront estate of the Obama family, even though they bought the Magnum PI mansion and bulldozed it and tore it down and put up something much bigger and much better and violated the environmental laws by putting up a break wall, a seawall, which they're not allowed to do, but don't you know who he is? And the Choom gang, I assume, is spending a lot of time hanging out there these days. And they get the good stuff, you know what I'm talking about? And Kamala is there in Hawaii doing what? Nobody knows. But yesterday, a video, was it 10 minutes long, right? About a 10-minute video of Kamala Harris, of her talking. And it would have been best if they had not done this. Honestly, don't draw attention to any of this. But it's making news all over the world. Now, I was being texted about it this morning by friends, and, well, we were texting about it last night, too, and yesterday afternoon we were texting about it. Everybody's talking about the video because it's a big deal, But I was going back and forth this morning with friends about it, and it's pretty funny. A friend of mine in Dallas, Texas, Jim in Dallas, Texas, said the long form video of Kamala yesterday is must-see TV. Must-see TV. Further affirmation that we have been spared. That we've been spared. And that's 100% true. In fact, in India, the empire, where they keep Bangalore down in Karnataka. And they've got newspapers there, too, of course. They have all those people hungry for information and knowledge. The headline in the Times of India, Kamala Harris called, quote, functional alcoholic, end quote, quote, broken, end quote, as she drops new video. So I'm guessing, based on that review, that the video has not gone over very well, at least in India. In the Democrat Party, nobody's aware of anything that's going on anywhere, but that's a great headline. Kamala Harris called a functional alcoholic and broken as she drops new video. And it really is true, as Jim said out of Dallas. This is the bullet that we dodged on Election Day. This is what the world was spared. And we have, 6 sound bites of Kamala from her 10-minute video yesterday. And the Times of India is all over it. The latest video of Vice President Kamala Harris sets the tongue wagging. It set the tongue wagging as she consoled her supporters. Would you say, Michael, that she consoled her supporters in this video? That might have been the idea. As she consoled her supporters in a recorded speech, it's barely a speech, I'd say, because social media users said She needed the consolation as she looked absolutely broken. This is the lead sentence in the article out of India, where they have, about 1.5 billion people, and they're hungry for information and knowledge. I know this is an uncertain time. I'm clear-eyed about that. I know you're clear-eyed about it. And it feels heavy, Kamala said in her first public speech after her Howard University speech, in which she conceded the election earlier this month. And I've got more for you on that, because it is fairly interesting, if not amusing and entertaining. It's probably not amusing and entertaining for her husband. She's squirreled away with Doug Emhoff, which can be dangerous, as we know, based on the events of the Cannes Film Festival in France with his then girlfriend. You remember all that. Slapped her so hard she went spinning away. Oh, speaking of which, Congresswoman Katie Porter, she is from California. She's on the way out. She ran for Senate in the state of California, and they're so screwed up that she might have won. Katie Porter is, of course, the one. She's one of my favorite members of Congress. She's the one that taught her 9-year-old daughter that the earth is on fire and we're all going to die soon, and you should be angry about that. That was 3 years ago, and she's 9. And then she posted another video recently, her daughter being 12, and terrorizing her daughter again, where her 12-year-old daughter said that she was afraid, because Donald Trump was president, that at the age of 12 she'd be raped and get pregnant and couldn't get an abortion, even though she lives in California, where I think abortion is mandatory now, isn't it? I think it's you get pregnant, it's mandatory. You just come on down and get your free stuff. Isn't that amazing? Yes. So we've got Katie Porter. She has filed for a restraining order. She got a restraining order against her ex-boyfriend. And her ex-boyfriend, who is apparently a drug-addicted mental case in and out of psychiatric hospitals, and he said, well, she just filed for the restraining order to beat me to the suit that I was going to file against her for abuse. This is Democrats in Congress. It's a pretty amazing group of people, I've got to say. Wah, wah, wah. So the Kamala Harris video, I think it's kind of a hoot. Maybe not if you're Doug Emhoff or Kamala Harris, but if you're a normal person and not one of them, I'd say that it's pretty good stuff. And we've got that for you. Now, the breaking news, Democrats release short, vague video of Kamala. I like that, short, vague video of Kamala babbling incoherently. And there are people, now let me say this, because the Times of India brought it up, and I need to share with you what I hear, because I live in Washington, D.C. The news media likes to say he's on the ground. I mean, where else would you be? Like dwelling in a tree? What is the hovering above the earth? But the Times of India, with Kamala Harris called functional alcoholic and broken as she drops new video, I believe that I've made fleeting, passing reference to this on the radio. But I know people in this town. I know people that function and operate and work around senior government officials and so on. And I've been told by civilian and law enforcement, and I have been told more than once by more than one person in the past couple of years that Kamala is known as a drinky drink person, that she has been known to throw more than a few back on more than the rare occasion. And so when I saw the Times of India headline today, Kamala Harris called functional alcoholic and broken as she drops new video, I've got to say, I think I laughed literally out loud. I think that it was an audible chuckle from me when I saw the headline, because I went, well, they must be talking to the same people that I've been talking to. But the video is kind of sad. Also, did you see the before and after pictures of Kamala from the last, it's just like the last year, not even 2 years, I think. And to say that the months have not been kind to her would probably be generous understatement. So we got that going, and that's fun stuff, no doubt about it. And we've got a lot more, of course, because 21 hours have passed, and that means the Democrats have done a lot of crazy stuff and said a lot of crazy stuff. Also, President Trump picked a new head for NIH, the National Institutes of Health, Jay Bhattacharya. And Jay Bhattacharya is a very smart guy, and and a capable guy to head up NIH, and he's somebody that raises questions, the questions that you and I would raise, that sensible people, common sense people would raise, because they still possess a modicum of common sense. And he is a very interesting pick, I think. Well, the lefties, with the lefties, no pick will be popular because they just want to attack everything, right? But he's a great pick, and there's a lot to talk about there when it comes to National Institutes of Health, and he, as the incoming director now, he's a medical doctor, he's a physician, he's a professor at Stanford University, and he's also one of the people behind the Great Barrington Declaration, which raised significant questions about the handling of the COVID epidemic and with the vaccine mandates and the shutdowns and all of that stuff. And he was an early critic of the shutdowns in the United States of America, among other things. So he's a very interesting pick, I think, for NIH. And honestly, looking at my headlines now, it's not just the Times of India, but the Gateway Pundit here in the United States, too. Is she drunk? Is the headline. Is she drunk? Kamala Harris looks rough in first video message to supporters since concession speech. That's very good. And then Fox News, X users left stunned by terrible video of Harris speaking to supporters. Who thought this was a good idea? ? That's actually in the headline, because who thought this was a good idea was a common refrain after the video was released. Pretty amazing stuff. Also, I have an update for you out of Azerbaijan and the COP29. They call it the COP29. I thought they hated the cops. They call it the COP. Don't they want to defund COP29 too? I bet we could confuse them and find a way to trick them into wanting to defund. That's the climate summit. The climate summit, right? In Baku, Azerbaijan, where everyone has been, I think, with the family on vacation, playing putt-putt, miniature golf, all that stuff. But they wrapped it up there, this loony bin, where they were serving the poop beer. Did you see this beer? Made from reclaimed water, from wastewater, from a public wastewater facility. They make the beer, and they were giving out these beers at the climate summit, which is kind of wacky. And more than 2 weeks at the United Nations Climate Summit in Baku, Azerbaijan. And they've agreed this year to spend not as much money as they usually do, because, how much of our money can they steal? These people, can I just say, these people. So there's that, and that's the funny people at Baku, Azerbaijan. I'd be happy to go to Baku, Azerbaijan for the climate summit, because it'd probably be funny to watch the behavior of all these people that show up for a UN summit to talk about the weather in Baku, Azerbaijan, these people, and then to drink their fecal beer, and that's what it is they're spreading around. And they weren't telling people. They're handing out cans of beer, saying, here, have a beer. It's real good. We think you'll like it. And it's made from human waste, because Democrats. Yes, indeed. And I mentioned Katie Porter, who famously assaulted her ex-husband, pouring a big tub off of the stove of boiled potatoes over his head, which usually comes with a bunch of boiling water. Scalded his scalp. That's Katie Porter. She should have her husbands and boyfriends taken away from her, and her daughter taken away from her as well. This woman is really unwell, I've got to say. Michael Moore, the odoriferous, oleaginous Michael Moore, the morbidly obese, the corpulent Michael Moore, lashes out at Joe Biden, says he's leading America into World War III. Is this your legacy? Michael Moore is yelling. So wait, when you've lost Michael Moore, what was it? LBJ, Lyndon Baines Johnson, said, if I've lost Walter Cronkite, I've lost America. Well, now, if you've lost Michael Moore, you've lost the Communist Party. I'm sorry, the Democrat Party. And so Michael Moore lashing out. Oh, also some kind of a peace deal between Israel and Hezbollah. Israel being very generous. But the jihadis are going to break the deal sooner rather than later. They're just taking a little break. They love Thanksgiving, Hezbollah. It's their favorite holiday. But they roast children. which makes it a little different, I guess. We've got LGBTQIA stories because the Democrats, it's always kids and transgender, and now we've got sports too, transgender sports, and I've got a story of two judges, because that's coming up too. And we are at 888-630-9625. Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at washingtontimes.com/Chris. Today is Jimi Hendrix's birthday. Little Jimi Hendrix birthday music. Born on this day in 1942, James Marshall Hendrix would have been 82 years old today, were it not for that fatal heroin overdose and everything at the age of 27. But let's go to the telephones. Well, we had a nice listener call in to tell Jasmine, hey, it's Jimi Hendrix's birthday, which I love. I think that's great. Maybe we'll go a little heavier on Jimi Hendrix today. We usually have some Jimi Hendrix, don't we? All right, let's go to the telephones. Let's go to Connor, calling from the great state of Alabama. Connor, you were on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Quick detour. That beer you were talking about's already been available. It was called Schlitz.
That's funny because, last night on Newsmax, I said it's called Bud Light.
There you go. I think it's funny. The Harris campaign is starting to blame the media for their loss.
Yeah.
And I think that we should let them live in that delusion, because the longer they stay in denial, the less likely they are to fix what's really broken, and that accrues to our benefit.
You're 100% right about that. Yes, when your enemy's destroying himself, do not interfere, either Napoleon or Sun Tzu. And it's true, when they're misguided and they're going down the wrong path, you should leave them unmolested. Let them do all the molesting, which they generally do. But let them be wrong, as they so often are, about absolutely everything. And also, in blaming the media, what they're doing is they're disciplining the media and telling the media to suck up to them more. Right, Connor?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And what do you think the media will do? What will be the media's response?
Well, they are trained to march in lockstep.
That's right. They'll suck up to them more. That's what they'll do. They'll apologize for, and a lot of these media people are going home to somebody else's family for Thanksgiving, and they're going to be sitting there at the table, and as reporters covering the campaign, the left-wingers at the stolen turkey table are going to, or maybe the free handout turkey table, they're going to be saying, well, you as a reporter for the New York Times, why didn't you help Kamala more? Why didn't she win? It's your fault, the news media. Because now that the Democrats are blaming the media, and we've got a couple of sound bites on that from her drunken video. In fact, there's a funny meme going around. We should share this meme of Kamala chugging a bottle of Hennessy's while she's making the video. What? Jimi Hendrix's 82nd birthday? That's crazy. You know who else is 82? Who's 82? Joe Biden. That's who's 82. He's no Jimi Hendrix, though. I'll give Jimi Hendrix that. Wah, wah, wah. He may have died of a fatal drug overdose at the age of 27. One of the members of the 27 Club. My best girl and I actually went to the house in London where Jimi Hendrix overdosed and died. It's kind of a tourist attraction, a little bit of a tourist attraction. Like in Paris, when you go to Jim Morrison's grave, people go there and smoke dope, and they leave little relics and things for the Jim Morrison thing, But that's not important now. Let's get to Kamala Harris, because there's a lot of stuff swirling around this Kamala Harris. Is it Kamala or is it Kamala? Yeah, no, it doesn't matter, does it? But I got to tell you, this 10-minute video is somewhat breathtaking, and we're posting. I think we're posting now or soonish, posting a very funny there's a funny meme that is going around, and I found it on a Twitter feed, an X feed by Puerto Rican. It's kind of like Puerto Rican, but Puerto Rican. And it's a funny clip of Kamala Harris doing her 10-minute speech from Hawaii. And there are a lot of people saying that she appears to be drunk. It looks like she's been drinking. And there was a photo posted right after, I guess it was right after the concession speech, was it? And it's Kamala sitting on the floor of a house with some little girls, and they're playing, what are they playing? Connect Four. They're playing a game, kind of a word game called Connect Four. And there's a big glass of wine there. And there are reports that Kamala loves to have a big glass of white wine with ice cubes. She likes to put ice cubes in her white wine because when you buy cheap, 1 gallon buckets of, speaking of which, today is Wednesday, and that means it's hump day in the Clinton household. And Hillary Clinton is waking up once again face down in a pool of her own dried vomit next to an empty 1 gallon cardboard box of cheap New Zealand Chardonnay. I wonder if she puts ice in her white wine glasses, too, because it might make sense. But every Wednesday she wakes up that way, knowing today is hump day in the Clinton household, and she has to clear out. She's just scoot, get out of here, scram, beat it. And man, oh, man. So Hillary Clinton Wednesday in the Clinton house, and then Bill, and he sounds like this now. Is a spring chicken compared to Joe Biden, though. Spring chicken. That's what are the characteristics of a spring chicken anyway? I guess young and perky and fresh. Is that the thing? Yeah, but we're going to post this video of Kamala because Puerto Rican posts a video of her, and she's clutching in her fist a bottle of Hennessy. Got a bottle of Hennessy. It's, she looks like she's been little drinky. Oh, speaking of, we got that Cook County, Chicago, Illinois elected Democrat who got pulled over and was eventually arrested for DUI and brought in and mugshotted and charged and all that. But when the police pulled her over, she's like, I'm an elected official. As though that's supposed to, oh, okay, well, then we'll let you go. Are you a Democrat elected official, even though you're driving hammered? Oh, and by the way, she had just crashed into multiple cars. This is kind of a funny story. And the police say, there are two police there. One of them says, well, you crashed into, I think he says, several cars back there. And she says, only 2 cars. Yeah, throws her hand. She's like, only 2 cars. And then she's just a drunk Democrat elected official in Chicago, in Cook County. And pretty amazing stuff. But let's get to Kamala. Because the Times of India, again, Kamala Harris called functional alcoholic broken as she drops new video. The video is dropped, so it's like an album, and pretty appalling stuff, I've got to say, from Hawaii, where she flew on Air Force 2, I assume drinking all the way because, she's probably in a tough place psychologically. She was this close to the presidency of the United States. And I'm holding my right index finger a half an inch over my right thumb. And there are still some that are telling Joe Biden he should quit now to make Kamala Harris the first woman president of the United States for about 20 minutes. Maybe that would get World War III really going, since the headlines all over Europe right now are all about World War III looming and about nuclear apocalypse and all of that stuff. X users stunned by terrible video of Harris speaking to supporters. Quote, who thought this was a good idea? That's actually in the headline. They're quoting people in the headline saying, who thought this was a good idea? Wah, wah, wah. Amazing stuff. Harris hints her Hawaiian vacation was preparation, this is almost hilarious, for political comeback. This is her political comeback speech, and that's an actual headline from Democrats because, they're not doing well. But that the Washington Examiner with that story mocking Kamala, I think mocking Kamala because, I'm sorry, this is your comeback video? Wow. Baby, come back. And you can blame it all on the press. All right, so let's go to Kamala because it's pretty funny. And there's a ceasefire in the Middle East. To call it peace in the Middle East would be misguided, to say the least. We also have Kamala Harris's campaign chief, who is out there trying to explain away what happened, and she's blaming the press, as our brilliant first caller said a little while ago. We've got President Trump suggesting that tariffs might be in the pipeline for Mexico, which is Mexico, and for Canada, which is America's hat. And we like hats, especially in the wintertime when the cold wind blows. All right, so let's go to Kamala Harris. Oh, and let's not forget about Sharon Stone. Sharon Stone, you see her? What is she, playing Betty Davis in an upcoming biopic or something? Because she doesn't look like the Sharon Stone that everyone remembers. Of course, everyone really only remembers one scene. Am I right? She's had a long and illustrious career that boils down to one scene. And I think, does everybody know what that scene is? I think so. It's back, she was much younger then, just a little shaver. So let's go to the Kamala stuff, and then we'll get to this Jen O'Malley Dillon of the Kamala campaign blaming everybody else. All right, so let me see now. Starts at number 17. Is that correct? Let's go to soundbite number 17 today. Kamala Harris in her new video. It is, according to some, a declaration of her political comeback. According to others around the world, in India and beyond, a demonstration of someone with a substance abuse problem. All right, soundbite number 17, Kamala Harris, 17. Kamala Harris in her 10-minute video. That is, whatever, they can just change what it is. Tomorrow they can say it's something else. Kamala Harris talking about the election, which she lost.
The outcome of this election, obviously, is not what we wanted. It is not what we worked so hard for.
Hiccup.
But I am proud of the race we ran.
Proud? You're proud of that? What do you tell me about the part that you're proud? Which part are you proud of? Because I need to know. I need to know. Which part are you proud of again? That's amazing stuff. There is a podcast. There's a podcast out there that I've got to say I'm unfamiliar with, and that's just fine with me being unfamiliar with this. But this podcast where, what is it now? They eat chicken. Is that actually true? They eat chicken they eat chicken wings while they're doing the interview. It's called Hot Ones. Hot Ones, this podcast. And the story that is out today, I've never seen this podcast, and that's okay with me. Popular YouTube show, Hot Ones, turned down Kamala Harris's pre-election interview request. And they explained, we've been on the air for years and years, and we have never done a single political interview. But the Kamala Harris campaign, which refused to do the Joe Rogan, then they lie about that, the Joe Rogan podcast, they say, well, no, we were willing to do it as long as Joe Rogan uprooted his operation, came to us, agreed to a 1-hour interview instead of a 3-hour interview, didn't ask any questions of any relevance, and so they sabotaged the whole thing, but never mind that. So this chicken wings podcast, they are saying, oh, no, Kamala Harris's campaign came to us and said they wanted to do an interview with our podcast. Since we never do political podcasts, they thought this would be a good idea. And I've got to say, that's kind of unsurprising, I've got to say. And they wanted the fake hot sauce. They didn't want any hot sauce. Hillary Clinton had to bring the hot sauce. So, yeah, we're proud of what we did. Unless she sounds a little drinky, doesn't she? So here she is, and then she makes up stuff. Oh, yeah, I really like America. See if you can detect any hiccups in the middle of this.
The strength of our country will be a function of our willingness to put in the work.
What?
And that we will do that work.
Huh?
With a sense of joy, yes.
Yeah?
With
joy.
A sense of work ethic and understanding it's going to be hard.
Work ethic?
But it's good work. It's
what?
Good work.
What? It's good work. It's good work. Has she demonstrated a solid work ethic at any point during her time in public life? And she used joy. She whipped out joy. Remember, they tried to make joy the defining word of their campaign and of the Democratic National Convention, where there was less violence and less looting and stuff than we had expected, which is nice. the work. And she sounds like she could be a little hammered, like she's been knocking back some Hennessy and then chasing it with white wine with ice cubes in there. We have a great friend who drinks white wine with ice cubes in her glass. It keeps the wine cold. Know what I'm talking about? And then she says, listen to this. She's trying to do math, and she's giving everybody credit for raising lots of money because that's what matters.
And you gave all that you could
to
support our campaign.
Drunk.
Because of your efforts, get this, we raised an historic $1.4 billion, almost $1.5 billion from grassroots supporters alone.
Oh, that's
the
not
most
true.
In presidential campaign history.
That's not from grassroots. Grassroots billionaires giving $100 million here and $100 million there. That's a lot of hooey. We raised, and what you said, and historic. I prefer a historic. It's a historic, not an historic, but that's me. Almost, and so 1.4 billion. It's almost $1.5 billion. No, she said it's almost $500 million. What did she say? It's almost. Oh, no, it's almost $1 billion and almost a half. What did she say? She mangled that just a little bit because of any campaign. We raised an historic $1.4 billion, almost $1.5 billion. Yeah, almost $1.5 billion. It's just $100 million off of $1.5 billion. They had to give it to Oprah. And then Oprah had to lie about it. Apparently she got like $2 million, Oprah. Amazing stuff. And then, because they really care about freedom, more money. Send her money. Our fight for freedom and for opportunity and for the promise of America. And joy. It included, for example, almost 4 million first-time contributors to our campaign. Nearly almost. Because of the work you did of helping people know that they can be engaged and that they're not outside, that they're inside, that we're all in this together. That work continues. It was your The work must continues. Oh, yes, the work must continues. I forgot the work must continues. That's absolutely true. I agree with her on that. That work continues. The work must continues. She's hammered. She's definitely hammered. She's in Hawaii. She's smoking bongs and drinking a lot of Hennessy, I think. The joy, remember, it was going to be full of joy. It was joy. 4 million first time. That's because this is your first time campaign. Remember, you didn't even make it to the first primary in 2020. You didn't make it to Iowa. So nearly 4 million first time. That's because last time around there were only 12 people and there were family members. Isn't that amazing? The work must continues. And apparently she had wanted to win or expected to win or something. She's been drinky ever since. Again, I'll say, the election didn't turn out like we wanted it to. You didn't? Certainly not as we planned for it to. What? For it to? But understand that the work we put into it was about empowering people. That's the spirit with work we did. The spirit with work we did. Yeah, I think that's probably true because, the work must continues, as Kamala Harris says. Pretty amazing stuff. And, boy, nobody knows what's going to happen next. Am I right? And I know this is an uncertain time. I'm clear-eyed about that. You are? I know you're clear-eyed about it. And it feels heavy. Very heavy. And I just have to remind you. Remind me. Don't you ever let anybody take your power from you. What does that have to do with anything? You have the same power that you did before November 5th. Power to the people. And you have the same purpose that you did. And you have the same ability to engage and inspire. So don't ever let anybody or any circumstance take your power from you. Okay. All right. Well, how about Doug Emhoff? Could Doug Emhoff take your power from you? Because I understand he hits pretty hard. He might pry that power out of your cold, dead hands. Don't let him take that power from you. Dougie not so fresh Emhoff. Aren't they amazing? The Democrat Party, that's, and the headlines. You got headlines around the world. Functioning alcoholic. I prefer the turn of phrase functional alcoholic, but I guess functioning alcoholic works just fine too. And broken. She, what does she think should continue, Michael? That work continues. The work must continues. The work must continues, as Kamala would say.
Quite frankly, I think she,
Let the record show that the witness made the drinky motion.
that work continues. The work must continue.
Yes, it must. It turns out Kamala is now back in Washington. My tracking device on her airplane is on the fritz, apparently, but she flew to San Francisco for meetings with radical left-wing extremists, and now she's back in Washington, powwowing with radical left-wing extremists. Let's go to the telephones, Michael. Let's go to Glenda, calling from the great state of Hawaii, where Kamala is no more. Glenda probably knew that. Glenda, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Good morning, Chris. We thought we got far enough away from D.C. And you can run, but you can't hide. We noticed a couple odd things when we got here. We come here every year at this time. We turned on the local news, and the news commentators aren't wearing aloha shirts. They're wearing suits and ties.
What?
I'm going, oh, that's very conservative of them. What's going on? And then the next thing we noticed, there's no mention about Kamala coming over here. Not a thing on the local news. We listen every morning to the local news and every evening. Not a word. The other thing, we were so happy. We were so worried. We're going to be out on the beach and we stumble over this drunk and with Secret Service around them or something. And we were so afraid we're going to stumble over a camel. But she's on the Big Island, not on Oahu where we are. So we're far enough away. But we didn't know they had a detox on the Big Island. They must have a detox there. And we thought she was talking pidgin English like they speak in Hawaii. She was just slurring. And what's with the little tiny bubbles on the right side of the screen that you were showing on Newsmax last night? We didn't understand that either during her speech. What's going on here?
I think they put that on there. I don't think Newsmax put that on there. I think they put that on there. But I tell you, we did, Glenda, we just posted on our social media, on the Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff, the GIF, the video of Kamala speaking in the speech and clutching a bottle of Hennessy's by the neck. And that's good for sharing with family. And Thanksgiving is tomorrow, so it's time to start sharing with liberal family members, with Democrat Party voting members. I'm not sure, Glenda, what the deal is. I noticed those too, and I was wondering, I don't know if those are point of origin, but maybe they're drinking heavily and doing LSD on maybe some other kind of hallucinogen, maybe an organic mushrooms or something in Hawaii.